Remember, we all wanted Hugo Broos to be fired. And remember, this is the guy that actually told fans in their social media opinion that it's trash and told the legends that they must shut up because he knows what he's doing. I'm talking about a man that is the most hated man in the South African football. His name is Hugo Broos, the man that actually took charge of Bafana Bafana in 2021, and he just actually announced that he's stepping down and his decision is irreversible. Actually, let's just go down to actually where he began and start to break down everything, because if you actually hear what he's done for Bafana Bafana in South Africa and what he's been saying all along is doing what he's doing, and the reaction, the relationship between him and the fans, I think that relationship is not a good relationship. But I will tell you one thing, the relationship he has with the players is just another level of relationship, because these guys are producing something we've never seen for the longest time until this guy comes into and coach Bafana Bafana. When he actually arrived, he told us that we have good players talented wise, but our players are not strong enough to compete in big leagues in Europe. And I mean, a lot of people, they took that as a disrespect. The man was talking facts. The man was just talking facts. Even though I'm not going to use the physicality of it for our players not working in Europe in big leagues, it's not that. I think that's 50% of it. I think the other 50% is also the mindset. The mindset of our players, the way they look at the game. Some players will be like, "Bro, you're a striker. Are you even watching other strikers that are ranked top in the world? How are they actually scoring goals?" People are not doing this, they're doing their own thing. So he had a lot of things that he had to say before he actually started delivering what he was supposed to deliver for Bafana Bafana. He told us that before he even started coaching. But the important thing that he mentioned when he actually took that job, he was like, "Look, guys, I'm going to be the guy that will take you to the World Cup." Our mission was always been like, let's go and qualify for the World Cup. For the fact that our football has been bad to a point that for almost a decade now, over a decade, we're actually struggling to qualify for things. I'm not going to say World Cup, because World Cup was like 16 years before we qualify with him. And then even AFCON, we're not the guys that were qualifying for it. I remember the AFCON that we had here in 2013, it was won by Nigeria. We qualified for that by default because someone that was supposed to host that AFCON were actually having some troubles, and then they were like, "South Africa, you just host the World Cup, man. You still have the facilities. Can you host this for us?" And South Africa was like, "Yeah, we'll do it for you." And then obviously automatic qualification. We didn't do anything anyway because someone would be like, "We're not prepared." No, we never prepared. But you look at the history of the coach, besides Clive Barker, because I think Clive Barker won the big one, so Clive Barker will leave him out of this. Other than that, there are only two guys that have done something significantly when it comes to Bafana Bafana. Shakes Mashaba, Hugo Broos. Shakes Mashaba, under him, he actually played with the guys that a lot of people were like, "Why is this guy playing for Bafana Bafana?" And he actually won games. And remember, his striker was Ndulula and Rand. That was his boys that he was beating teams with. And in that run of him beating teams, he actually went to Nigeria and beat Nigeria when Nigeria was still coached by Steve Keshi. And I mean, that was South African success, because at that point, Nigeria was just beating us every angle we were coming in because they were that good. But Mashaba was like, "No, guys, you guys are playing names. We playing football. Let's go there and play football. We can beat these people." And we beat them their home, and then they came this side. I think we drew, and they scored that goal. So now we have Hugo Broos. Hugo Broos gave us one of the craziest runs. At some point, we had like 24 games unbeaten because this man was so good. People will come to me and be like, "No, but Popkins, think about the fact that we were not playing the big national teams." Yeah, right. Who does that? Why would you trying to build confidence of players and confidence of fans, and then you go straight to France? Look what happened when we tried to play France. We got 5. And that 5 was just not something that we expected to actually receive, because out of that 5, we actually didn't learn anything. And if you look at the players in that 5-0, lots of players were just starstruck. It didn't look like guys that were like, "Okay, these teams actually have Mbappe, and then I'm gonna try to do something and see if I can uplift my skill of defending against the best." No, we were not even there. Okay, we were like, "No, it's fine, guys. Let's play Brazil 5 again." So we've been receiving 5-5-5 from these big guys. And people were saying the same thing when we were going to the World Cup. Why are we not playing the big guys? And then I remember SAFA made an issue about the fans, which is the makes sense for me. Why would you spend so much money just to play against Argentina and Brazil, and then they beat you? You ended up not getting what you actually think is going to help you at the World Cup anyway, because chances of you playing against them, if they are not in your group, they're actually small, because you know you are not the nation that can qualify out of the group stages and do some good run based on the fact that at your stage right now you are still building. So when Hugo Broos arrived, promised us those things that he's actually going to take us into AFCON and World Cup. Took us to AFCON the first time, finished third. And I know the run, if you actually look game by game, it's actually not like a perfect good run. We're actually a good team and a hard team to break down. Teams were struggling to actually break us down because of the defense we had, and especially defensive mindset. And I think one of the incredible players that played well in that AFCON was Mahopa. The reason why he played well is because Mahopa, he's not a striker that will need the wingers and the midfielders to feed him. He's gonna go run around trying to find the ball, making sure that he moves around. The only downside with that, you leave defenders with so much freedom so that they can even come closer to press high. So I think that was one of those things. But in that tournament, that was working fine for us. We gained confidence. We got the bronze medal. We were like, okay, boys, we are here. But now the issue is, even though we were there, most of the teams that were actually dominating the starting 11 was Sundowns, because Sundowns was doing well with the South African boys at that time. So those boys that just went from Sundowns to Bafana Bafana, and everything was fine. Hugo Broos got the bronze for us, but he still had a bad relationship with Kaizer Chiefs, because he wasn't picking Kaizer Chiefs fans and what he mentioned was like, he can't pick players that are actually finishing number 9 or 8. And then people were like, but you pick Nico Mopi, who's also facing relegation. And the only thing that people didn't realize, which Hugo Broos actually changed when it comes to Bafana Bafana. I used to hate the idea of players scoring a hat-trick today and next week they're in Bafana Bafana game, and then they don't score after that call up and they are not in the Bafana Bafana squad. I wanted the squad to have South African national team players. Regardless of the fact that you are playing in your team or you're not playing in your team, you are a Bafana Bafana player. That's what I liked when we had guys like Opas that were not playing in Sundowns, but they were Bafana Bafana players, and they were there in Bafana Bafana delivering the job. And I think for us to have that kind of chemistry with those boys, even if it's not a chemistry that you take from Sundowns or Orlando Pirates or those teams that have players that were picked for Bafana Bafana, I think that's kind of helped us to understand that, okay, as fans now we understand if we are going to play a certain national team, who are the guys that are going to start. We know now that this guy is playing, and then we know that it's going to be a few changes of one or two players that's going to come in and then some come out. But then he fixed that, and my thing is, whoever is going to come into this Bafana Bafana job mustn't change a thing. That's why when it comes to who's next, I'm not really confident with some of the names that have been picked up, but that's a topic for another day. Right now, we are talking about Mdala, the great Hugo Broos. So he's the longest serving Bafana Bafana coach, 5 years in a job. And he's actually qualified for us for the tournaments that were available in his 5-year span. And he did the unthinkable when he actually took us into the last 32. For the first time ever, we are playing the World Cup for the 4th time. In this one, we're playing it, but we never actually moved out of the group stages. Qualifying was just not our thing. And because most of the time, we used to fail to qualify for things. So when we are playing things, qualifying for the knockout stages, how is that possible if we are failing to qualify to come here? So I think he did that, went to the last 32. Last 32, we played actually a good game. A lot of people will have complaints there and there, because as fans, we always complain when we are losing. And every time we lose, everyone becomes a tactician. So that's the standard. We lost last minute, and then it's just the shock that has been happening in this World Cup with all the African teams losing concentration at the dying stages of the match. So, yeah, I was expecting to win that and go and face whoever was going to win between Morocco and Netherlands, but that didn't happen. So, yeah. But that's still big for a nation that is building towards great something. And now my saying is, this guy has done a lot without even listening to us fans. And all I'm saying, SAFA, can you please hire someone that is not going to listen to fans? Like, not listen to fans, not listen to legends. Do your job. You are in charge of this thing. The reason why 60 million of us in a country, we can't coach Bafana Bafana, is because we have different opinions. And people that are blaming the coach that you were supposed to do this, you were supposed to do this, if they had a job, they were going to be blamed as well. Because when it comes to that kind of a job as a coach, you people will have opinions and thinking they know better than you. And I remember on my WhatsApp status after we lost to Mexico, I said it's crazy things that are happening in South Africa. Everyone thinks they know better than Hugo Broos, and people were just after me like, yeah, why are you defending him? Is that and that and that? I'm like, first of all, guys, if you look at that game, Ndala was like, I'm not trying to lose this game. I'm not trying to lose this game. And people are like, yo, but you were supposed to play our normal way. I'm like, damn, our normal way is too wide open at the back. And people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, let's go back to the game of us before we go into the World Cup. We were playing Panama. Panama was actually tired in our first game. Tired. I mean, people who have jet lag, they are tired. They just landed now and then they have to play later on. And guess what? They got a draw. And we were like, no. And then later on, 2-3 days later, went to Cape Town. They were freshen up now. Sea breeze, everything is fine. They're in the motherland. They killed us 2-0. And if you look at those goals, the way we defended, which coach will go into a Mexico game and thinking my defense is actually crazy? And the thing is, at that game, what I was fighting for, I wasn't even fighting the system, because people were like, yo, we never played the system. And I'm like, okay, sharp, I get that. But I was fighting the fact that before even other games, other nation teams play in the World Cup, I was like, guys, you can't tell me that professional players don't know how system works. Like, I'm refusing to believe this thing of professional players don't know how system works. Like, I've never played football professionally, but when I was playing football in amateur, I knew how all the formation works. So if the coach say we're playing like this today, I have to understand what am I doing, what is my job. And people, they act like coaches just, we play like this and that is no question. If you don't understand, you ask, how am I supposed to do here? And then the coach will let you know that today I want you to play like this. Those guys are professional. What I've noticed is they were not good enough in that match and they were scared. And that's the thing. And fine, people are saying it's 5 at the back. It wasn't actually 5 at the back. It was 3. That was going to have a 3-5-2. You get a 5 when we are defending. You in the midfield, you move these 2 wing backs. Now you have another 5. And then when we are attacking, we move another wing backs. And then now we have 4. So the system works like that. I'm not even a professional footballer, but I know this is how the system works. But guess what Bafana Bafana was doing in that game? We all saw the game. They didn't do that. Was supposed to do. And then we watch other games where they were playing the same system and they actually had a plan of, oh, we move like this. They understood what to do. So, I mean, for me, it's an issue of, do these guys need to be familiarized with the formation, or they need to understand how all the formation works in football? Because, I mean, we've seen guys like Thiago Motta playing with 2 at the back because they wing up, the other wing backs are playing as inverted wingers or something. But people always try to recreate things. When Pep started giving those guys fullback to be playing inverted fullbacks, it was our first time seeing that thing, but it was working because these guys at some point they have to play this thing on an actual match. And people don't understand. Everyone is a superstar in a training, but when it comes to the actual match, you have to try all those things that you were doing in the training. So I think that was that. I didn't want to talk about that game that much, but I want to talk about Madala. All I wanted to say in this video was thank you so much to Madala. He's actually done great for us, and I know a lot of people have a shaky relationship with him. My relationship with Mdala has always been good. I never actually doubted Mdala to do the great for us because he showed me that he's the man that wanted to do this thing. And I want SAFA to hire someone with the same mentality. You are not here to massage the egos of the certain players, because when he came in, he actually ignored a lot of the big players because he was like, these guys, if you guys are saying they are this big, why they haven't done anything for the country right now? We are waiting for me to pick them. Because if they are big, they're supposed to be national team players by now. And now they are still in and out of the national team, and you guys now putting the pressure on me to actually pick these guys. That guy have like a sense of understanding what actually he wanted to do. And I think when he was making the statement of him stepping down as a Bafana Bafana coach, he said his decision is irreversible. Even if SAFA want him back, he's not going to do it. But Jordan promised him that when he's coming back to do the official farewell at the end of July, he's going to have a meeting with Jordan where they will talk about with some possibility of him still working in the South African football, either a scout, either something on advisor. But I think having someone like Hugo Broos as an advisor of whoever's going to take charge of the national team, or actually maybe have him as an advisor of developing the landscape of the type of players that we need to produce in the country, I think maybe it's something that we can benefit from as a country as well. He's an intelligent man and comes to understanding how to play and how to do certain things and playing according to our strength. And I think when he came in, he used the same players that we had in the country, and then he achieved things that he achieved. It means that it was actually a mentality of the certain players that they needed someone who doesn't care about people's feelings, who's going to come in and say what he wants to say and just coach the team and get the results. So I think Mdala served us pretty well. And yeah, man, like, I'm not happy that Mdala is leaving, but I think he told us that after the World Cup, he's going to be stepping down. He's old. They want to spend time with his grandkids. And he also said he's too old now to have football work that's require him to be more focused 24/7 every day, like, oh, football this. Now he wants something that is more chilled, that doesn't require him to think a lot and think about all these things that people are saying. And I know I'm not going to make Mdala as a saint in this thing. Mdala didn't actually say the nice thing to other people as well. That's acceptable. I understand he deserves a blame for that, but I can tell you something, an older person that have done a lot of things in life, he's not a person that's going to come out and massage people's egos, because in him, he's actually finished, he's done. He's not actually trying to recreate new relationship that will help him in future. He's living in his future because he's like 70 something. So I think people were supposed to understand this about him. And there's a lot of things that he said that it was more of a provoking certain people, certain fan base, certain players, certain legend, certain broadcasters. And you look at people sometimes when they analyze his game, analyze the way he thinks, and a lot of times, sometimes was called of being racist and all of that. And I was like, guys, this man never grew up in South Africa. He doesn't understand the history and the struggle. White people that grew up in South Africa, they understand the history and all of those things. So they know things they are not supposed to say because they know what that will actually come out as. But he doesn't know those things. He's just talking his mind. So a lot of things happen like that. But he's the guy that gave us the good times as Bafana Bafana fans. I think there was like a confidence when Mdala was around that when we are playing teams, we're going to win. Like when he was around, we knew that when we are playing certain teams, we are going to win. Even if teams are that good. Like I remember when in our way to win that bronze, we beat Morocco. When we beat Morocco, everyone just felt like, damn, man, we are doing something crazy here. But then it was Mdala with that mindset of saying, guys, we can beat these people. And I know there were certain games where Mdala was also looking at the quality that he has and like, okay, guys, I don't think you guys can do this. Let's play our scary football, scare our tactics. And I remember I also blame him for the game against Egypt in the AFCON, which we ended up losing 1-0 because Mtau did something with the hands. Was a lot of VAR, wara. They robbed us on the other side. The VAR thing, yeah. But then, when actually Mdala did that, I was against him because I was like, why so many midfield? I understand what you are trying to do. You're trying to make sure that you are compact. You are not easily break down. But, I mean, at some point, just let him play and see if then in the first half something is not working out, then we can change in the second half. And then people were blaming him on the game against Cameroon. I'm not blaming him. That man, he's a coach. He's not a player. He's a coach. He actually made his team create 3 clear-cut chances before the space of 20 minutes in the game. Tell me something. If those 3 clear-cut chances went in and the score was 3-0, no matter how many changes actually Cameroon made in that match, wasn't going to affect a lot of things in that game. We were leading 3-0. The game was going to change completely because we were going to be leading 3-0 in that moment. But you know what? They saw something bad on their side. They changed that very quickly. But We didn't change that because we were thinking we were doing the right thing. And people are blaming him for that he was supposed to change. You're not going to change your players based on other people doing their change. You know your system. And once you do that, you are playing in their hands now because they seen that you are responding to what they're doing. You need to stick in your plan. So I think he actually done great. I can go on and on about him, the way he's in help us, like our dignity as a national team. Now we can boast and talk to people the way that we are confident we're going to beat them. For the fact that we are in the same group as Nigeria qualifying for the World Cup and we qualified. Like, that says a lot about Mdala, that this is the man that wasn't looking at the teams of like, oh, these ones are big, these ones are big. He was like, I'm standing on business, we are winning these games. And he actually delivered on thing that he promised us before he even took charge of one match, that we are going to qualify for the World Cup. And he did, and he even gave us our first knockouts of the group stages in the World Cup. To Mdala, salute, you've done a great job for us. And I think when he was announcing he's stepping down in the position, I expected it, but yeah, I'm not ready for the new chapter. Probably the new chapter is here. Me being ready or not, it doesn't change anything because the new chapter is here. SAFA is actually on the process of actually getting a new coach that will be filled in because next year, June, it's another AFCON that we are hoping to be qualifying for that AFCON and also do something great than what we did last AFCON when we actually knock out on the round of 16. So there are a lot of things that we want to do as a national team. But thanks to this man for giving us a good foundation of our football. And yeah, I can go on and on, man. Thank you so much if you've been watching this video up until this far. My name is Pop Kiss. This is Beyond the Box, talking about Bafana Bafana, Hugo Broos stepping down. And if you have any comments that you want to talk about the things that I talked about, you want to say some of the things, you want to echo maybe your concern, maybe you were on the side of the side where you were actually saying, I don't see what he's doing, or you were on the side where you were like, okay, I like this guy, what he's doing. Just say your thoughts in the comment below and then I will reply to you. We keep the conversation going. I will see you on the next one.